Good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, today I want to shake you a little. Not with fear, but with truth. Because there's a dangerous lie that's been whispered into your ears, your heart, your soul, and the worst part. Some of you believed it. This lie says you're not enough, that you'll never make it, that your past defines your future, that your brokenness disqualifies you, that your dreams are too big for someone like you. You see, the most dangerous lies aren't shouted at you. They're planted quietly, subtly, and they grow roots. Deep roots. And before you know it, you're living in a reality shaped by something that was never true in the first place. I was told I would never walk, never write, never live a full life. But I'm standing here not because I had it easy, but because I stopped listening to the lie. Your value is not measured by your appearance, ability, or approval. That sounds simple, right? But if we're being honest, really honest, how many of us are secretly measuring our worth based on what we look like, what we can do, or how others react to us? How many of us look in the mirror and immediately think, I'm not enough? Maybe you scroll through social media and suddenly your life feels small. Your smile doesn't seem bright enough, your body doesn't feel strong enough, your accomplishments seem invisible next to someone else's highlight reel. That's the dangerous lie in action. I've seen it. I felt it. I've lived it. There was a time I thought I had no value. I wasn't just comparing myself to others. I was convinced I was a mistake. I didn't have arms. I didn't have legs. I couldn't do what normal people could do. Kids laughed at me. Strangers stared at me. Even adults avoided eye contact, and that lie that I was worthless took root in my heart. I started believing it. I started thinking, what's the point? I couldn't see a future because I couldn't see my worth. But let me tell you something I learned the hard way. Value doesn't come from the outside. It's not based on your job title, your grades, your muscles, your bank account, or your follower count. It's not about whether people clap for you, cheer for you, or even like you. Your value is not found in how people see you. It's found in who you are. You were created with purpose. You were designed with intention. That alone gives you infinite worth. And listen, I know the world shouts the opposite. The world says, be perfect, be successful, be popular. But that's a trap, because even when you get what the world says you need, it never feels like enough. You get one like and suddenly you want 100. You get a compliment and then crave the next one. You hit a goal, but your heart still feels empty. That's because value that depends on approval will always leave you starving. I had to reach a place where I stopped asking the world to validate me and started speaking truth to myself. I looked in the mirror one day, same body, same limitations, and instead of saying, why me? I said, why not me? I stopped seeing my body as broken and started seeing it as a miracle. I may not have arms to hold someone, but I've got a heart that loves deeply. I may not run a race, but I can move people with my words. I stopped comparing and started believing. Friend, if no one's ever told you this before, let me be the first. You are not valuable because of what you look like or what you can do. You're valuable simply because you are. You're breathing. You're here. That means you have a purpose. It means your life matters right now. So don't buy the lie that you have to earn your worth. You already have it. Don't spend your life chasing approval. Chase truth. Because when you finally understand that your value is unshakable, unstoppable, and unconditional, you start living differently. You walk taller. You smile wider. You dream bigger. And the lie, it loses its power. The voice in your head is not always telling the truth. We all have that voice. You know the one I'm talking about. The one that shows up when you're about to take a step forward. The one that whispers you're not good enough, you're going to fail, why even try? And the truth is, most people don't even realize how much power they've given that voice. It becomes the background music of our lives, constantly playing, constantly pulling us back. But here's something that changed my life. Just because the voice is loud doesn't mean it's right. For the longest time, that voice in my head controlled everything. It convinced me I was a burden, that I was incomplete, that my life would never amount to anything. And the most dangerous part, it sounded like me. It had my tone, my thoughts, my fears. It didn't shout at me like an enemy. It sounded like a trusted friend. That's what makes it so dangerous. It disguises itself as your own reasoning, but really it's just a broken echo of everything you've heard, feared, or failed at in the past. You see, the mind can replay the past like it's still happening. It grabs onto every mistake, every insult, every painful moment, and it replays them until they become your truth. But they're not. They're just experiences. They're moments. And moments don't define your identity unless you let them. I used to think, if I can't even get out of bed without help, what can I possibly offer the world? That lie sat with me, it lingered, it grew. And before I knew it, I wasn't even trying. Not because I couldn't, not because I believed I couldn't. That's the trap. The voice doesn't have to stop you with change, it just has to convince you that you're already stuck. But listen to me, you are not your thoughts. You are not every fear you've ever had. You are not the opinions that were forced on you when you were too young to fight back. You are not defined by that voice. You can question it, you can confront it, you can replace it. What if instead of letting that voice beat you down, you started speaking life over yourself? What if you looked in the mirror and said, I'm not perfect, but I'm growing? What if you failed and said, that doesn't make me a failure? What if you stopped asking, what if I'm not enough, and started declaring, even now I am worthy? You get to choose which voice leads your life. You can choose the lie or you can choose the truth. And the truth is there's greatness in you. There's strength in you that's only discovered when you dare to silence the critic and speak with courage. That takes practice, it takes patience, but it is possible. Every breakthrough begins with a thought. Every comeback starts in the mind. If you want to change your life, start by challenging the thoughts that are shaping it. Start by listening to a voice that speaks love instead of fear, hope instead of despair, progress instead of perfection. Because that voice in your head, it doesn't get the final word you do. Pain is not your prison, it can be your platform. That's not just a motivational quote. It's a truth that, if you let it, will shift the way you see every moment of struggle you've ever faced. Because pain, as heavy and heartbreaking as it can be, isn't the end of your story. It's not the full picture. It's not the final chapter. But here's the thing, when you're in pain, it feels final. It feels suffocating. It feels like you'll never laugh again, never breathe freely again, never dream again. And that's exactly when the dangerous lie creeps in, telling you that this is all there is. But it's not. Pain, when we allow it to shape us instead of stop us, becomes a place of purpose. And I get it, when you're in the middle of it, that's the last thing you want to hear. I've had nights where I cried out asking why. Why was I born like this? Why do I have to struggle to do even the simplest things? Why can't I be like everyone else? And for a long time, those questions made me feel stuck, like a prisoner inside my own life. But eventually I stopped asking why and started asking what now. I began to see my pain not as something that was happening to me, but something that could happen through me. That shift changed everything. Suddenly my story had power. My scars had meaning. My struggle wasn't a wall, it was a stage. It was something I could stand on and say, look, I made it through this, and you can too. You see, pain can isolate you, but it can also connect you. Some of the deepest conversations I've had with people didn't come from my victories, they came from my valleys. It's in our brokenness that we relate to one another. It's when we stop pretending everything's perfect and start saying, yeah, me too, that we begin to heal together. The world doesn't need more people who look like they have it all together. The world needs more people who are willing to turn their pain into purpose, who are willing to stand on the very thing that tried to crush them and say, this will not define me. Think about it. Some of the greatest breakthrough zones in life come after a breakdown. Growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. It happens in the hard places, in the deep places, in the moments where you feel like giving up but decide to keep going anyway. And don't think for a second that your pain disqualifies you. If anything, it qualifies you even more to speak life into someone else. Because when you've walked through the fire and come out stronger, you become living proof that hope is real, that healing is possible, that God isn't finished with you yet. So don't hide your pain. Don't bury it. Don't run from it. Face it. Learn from it. Let it shape you, not define you. And then use it. Use it to lift someone else. Use it to remind them that they're not alone. Use it to be the voice you once needed, because pain may leave a mark, but it doesn't get to write your future. You do. Your story is not over unless you quit writing. There's a moment in everyone's life when they feel like it's too late, too broken, too far gone. Maybe it happens after a mistake you wish you could take back. Maybe after a loss that shattered your heart. Maybe after disappointment piled on top of disappointment until it buried your hope completely. And when you're in that place, it's so easy to believe that the story is finished, that the page has been written, the chapter has closed, and there's nothing left to say. But I'm here to tell you that is a lie. You are not a finished story. You are not the worst thing you've ever done. You are not the pain you've endured, the failure you've experienced, or the silence you've lived through. You are a work in progress. And progress doesn't always look pretty. Sometimes it looks like tears on your pillow. Sometimes it looks like getting out of bed when everything in you says stay down. Sometimes it's one breath, one choice, one more day. I've had days where I didn't want to go on. Days where I thought, if this is how life will always be, then what's the point? And you might not know what that exact feeling is like, but I know you've had your own version of it. That quiet moment when you looked at your life and thought, this isn't how it was supposed to go. That aching pause where you felt stuck, defeated, forgotten. That voice that told you it's over. But friend, you are still here. You are still breathing. That means your story is still being written. That means there's another page. Another chapter. Another breakthrough, and sadly, sometimes the moment you decide to stop believing the lie that says you're finished. People will try to define you by your past. The world will label you by your mistakes. But labels are for things, not people. You are not what happened to you. You are not your failure. You are not your shame. You are not a character stuck in a tragic ending. You are the author of the next chapter. And it doesn't matter how dark the beginning was, light still wins. Healing still happens. Redemption is still real. I've met people who came back from addiction, from prison, from abuse, from abandonment. People who were told they'd never amount to anything, but they chose to keep writing. They chose to pick up the pen and say, no, this is not where it ends. And because they did, they became walking miracles. Not because life was easy, but because they refused to stop. You don't need to have it all figured out to turn the page. You don't need to feel strong to take the next step. You just need to believe that there is a next step. And when you do, you give yourself permission to grow beyond what you've known. It might take time. It might take tears. But the most powerful stories are the ones that almost ended but didn't. The ones where people were counted out but stood back up. The ones where everything looked hopeless but hope rose anyway. That can be your story. That is your story. Maybe right now your life feels messy, uncertain, unfinished. That's okay. Stories are supposed to be messy in the middle. The hero doesn't always feel like a hero in chapter 4. But if they quit in the middle, we'd never see the ending that inspires the world. So today, make a choice. Pick up your pen. Keep writing. Keep showing up. Keep believing that the best parts of your story haven't even been lived yet. Because as long as you're still here, your story is still being written. The lie loses power the moment you speak the truth out loud. It's amazing how much damage a lie can do when it's kept in the dark. As long as it stays hidden in your heart, unspoken and unchecked, it grows. It spreads. It wraps itself around your thoughts, your identity, your future, until you can't tell the difference between what's true and what's false. And that's exactly how the dangerous lie takes control. Not by shouting, not by force, but by silence. Quiet, constant, heavy silence. For years I kept everything inside. I smiled on the outside, laughed with people, gave encouraging words, but inside I was crumbling. I was carrying lies I never said out loud but believed every day. Lies like I'm a burden. I'll never be enough. No one could ever really love someone like me. I didn't speak them, not even to my closest friends. But I didn't have to. They were already shaping how I lived, how I walked into rooms, how I looked at myself in the mirror. And then something changed. It wasn't a lightning bolt or a huge moment on stage. It was a quiet conversation with someone who asked, "How are you really?" And for the first time, I let the truth come out. Not the version I thought was safe, not the version I thought they wanted to hear. Just the raw, honest truth. I'm struggling, I'm tired, I'm afraid. And in that moment, something happened. The lie that had so much power over me suddenly felt weaker, smaller, less convincing. Because here's the truth, darkness loses strength when it's brought into the light. When you speak out loud what you've been silently battling, it doesn't make you weak, it makes you free. You don't have to pretend anymore. You don't have to carry the weight alone. You give someone else a chance to say, "Me too," and suddenly you're not isolated. You're not invisible. You're not powerless. Some of you have been carrying lies since childhood. Lies you didn't choose, but ones that were spoken over you by a parent, a teacher, a bully, maybe even yourself. And instead of challenging them, you accepted them. You tucked them into your heart and let them narrate your life. But what if today you said them out loud, not as a confession of defeat, but as a declaration of freedom? What if you looked someone in the eye and said, this is the lie I believed, and I don't want to believe it anymore? The lie says you have to hide. The truth says you're safe. The lie says you're too broken. The truth says you're still becoming. The lie says it's too late. The truth says it's just beginning. Every time you speak truth over your life, over your pain, over your past, you reclaim your story. You silence the voice that's tried to hold you back. You remind yourself that you are more than what fear has told you. And you start creating space for something you hope, healing, growth. Don't let silence keep you stuck. Don't let fear of judgment stop you from saying what needs to be said. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not climb a mountain or win a race. It's simply to say, this is what I've believed, and I'm choosing truth instead. Speak it out loud. Let the lie lose its grip. Let the truth rise. You are not a mistake, you are a miracle in motion. I don't care what you've heard, what they said, or what your past looks like. If you're still here, still breathing, still standing, you are not a mistake. And yet, I know that for so many people, that's the exact lie they've come to believe. Somewhere along the way, someone's words, or maybe just the weight of life itself, convinced you that you were some kind of accident. Like you're here by chance. Like you're taking up space that was meant for someone better. Someone stronger, someone normal. I believed that lie too. I believed it hard. I looked at my body, no arms, no legs, and I thought, how could this possibly be on purpose? I was born without the things everyone else took for granted. I couldn't feed myself, dress myself, or walk like other kids. And that voice in my head kept telling me this has to be a mistake. But listen to me. Just because something doesn't look like the way you imagined doesn't mean it's a mistake. Just because it's hard doesn't mean it's wrong. And just because the world doesn't understand your value doesn't mean it isn't there. You were created with intention. You're not a random combination of flaws and failures. You're a masterpiece in progress, a story still unfolding, a miracle that someone else is waiting to see. But the dangerous lie wants you to focus only on what you're not tall enough, not smart enough, not pretty enough, not successful enough. It wants you to compare yourself to someone else's chapter 20 when you're still on chapter 3. And if you're not careful, it will rob you of your joy, your purpose, and your identity. But a miracle isn't about perfection. It's about impact. It's about resilience. It's about being here despite all the reasons you could have given up. It's about the fact that you faced storms that should have broken you, but they didn't. You're still here, maybe limping, maybe scarred, but here, alive, becoming. Every breath you take is proof that there is still something left for you to do. Someone left for you to reach, some beauty left in you that the world needs to see. And your worth isn't measured by your productivity, your popularity, or how pain-free your life has been. Your worth is intrinsic, unshakable, undeniable. I used to think that miracles were only things that happened to people. But now I know that sometimes the miracle is the person. And maybe that's you. Maybe you're the miracle someone else is waiting to meet. Maybe your story, your scars, your survival is the exact light someone else needs in their darkness. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be fully, honestly, and bravely yourself. The world tries so hard to fit us into boxes, to tell us how we should look, feel, think, live. But miracles don't fit in boxes. They break them. They surprise us. They show up in unexpected forms just like you. So don't waste another second believing the lie that says your existence is a cosmic error. It's not. You are not too late, too broken, too anything. You are exactly who and where you need to be right now to take the next step toward the life you were made for. You are not a mistake. You are a miracle in motion. And the best part, you're just getting started. So wherever you are right now, whether you're standing tall or barely holding on, remember this: the lie may have shaped your past, but it does not get to shape your future. You have the power to rewrite the story. You have the strength to silence the voice of fear. You have the courage to rise even when everything in you wants to run. And you have a purpose that no mistake, no pain, and no lie can erase. You are not done. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not disqualified. You are becoming. You are learning. You are rising. And your life, yes, your life is a message the world needs to hear. So don't give up. Don't let the lie win. Keep fighting. Keep speaking truth. Keep choosing hope. Because the moment you stop believing the lie, that's when everything starts to change. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up for yourself and for the people who need your light. I believe in you. I'm cheering for you. And I pray your next chapter is your strongest yet. Good luck and God bless you.